This week, our good friend Jim Rutt and my collaborator in Game B back in 2013, I think it was.
Before that.
It was before that. Well, anyway, Jim Rutt, who was the organizer of Game B, just to give you a sense of who he is a former chairman of the Santa Fe Institute, which is an academic institute that is dedicated to the study of complexity science. He is a tenacious student of history. He is also, this is just a bit of trivia, he is the coiner of the term snail mail. So in any case, that's...
And you've been on his podcast?
I have been on his podcast a couple times, and he is somebody who emerged from the right. And anyway, Game B was an effort to figure out how to move civilization into its 2.0 version. That involved people from across the political spectrum gathering in Stanton, Virginia.
The idea being that Game A, which we are all living, is failing us in ways that we are beginning to see, and will begin to fail everyone in ways that we are trying to predict. But whether or not we predict it accurately, we know that it will fail.
Yes. The central idea in Game B was that Game A is actually vulnerable to competition. It tends to stamp out things that it can't fight, but if you were able to fight it on a level playing field, a Game B that was superior at doing all the things Game A claims it wants could defeat it. Game B, I should say, I believe the term was the insight of our friend Jordan Hall, who was also a founder of Game B. In any case, Jim was thrown off of Facebook this week. He was thrown off, curiously, in exactly the way that I had been thrown off. I believe he saw, even to the word, the same warning that I got, and received the same non-explanation of having violated guidelines, and he was told that there was nothing that could be done, that there was that the review had already been conducted, and there was no reversal possible. We, of course, raised a stink about this on Twitter, and he has been reinstated. Two of the mods, the admins for the Game B Facebook group, not a group I participate in, but nonetheless there is a group that discusses Game B on Facebook. They were thrown off at the same time.
So Jim and the other two admins were all thrown off. Yep.
And in the space between my being thrown off and then restored and Jim being thrown off, Jordan had been thrown off.
Jordan Hall.
So this is
Has his account been restored?
It has been restored. So this is a fairly clear attack on Game B. And the thing that is, I think, most significant here is that we are watching a purge of what we are told is conservatives. That's a very upsetting idea. The idea that a political belief, a mainstream political belief like conservatism, is enough to get you thrown off of tech platforms is very disturbing, and that ought to put all of us from across the political spectrum on high alert. But my claim is...
It's also not true.
It's not true. Yeah. That's the cover story.
It's true, and...
Yes, conservatives are threatened, but really, those who are being thrown off are anybody who is a threat to the power of the ruling elite, which at the moment is overwhelmingly from the blue team. So the blue team is consolidating power by getting rid of things that challenge it. Not only does that include, yes, Jim was originally a conservative. I would now say he is extremely progressive. I mean, after all, he was interested in a total revamp of the way civilization works to make it fairer and more functional and safer. That's pretty darn progressive.
Certainly an attempt at progress.
Right. I also, knowing him personally, knows that he is an egalitarian who holds our deepest liberal values close to his heart. So Game B, threatened, right? Have numerous people associated with Game B thrown off of Facebook. The Unity movement was, of course, suspended at Twitter and remains suspended to this day. Also not a conservative movement, a non-ideological, non-partisan movement. And so it's very clear that what's happening here is power is using weaponry to defend itself against challenge. And to the extent that many people who are not paying close attention and who are signed up with the blue team are going to look past this and not think about it. They're going to turn a blind eye because what they think is happening, they may understand it's unfair, but they think that the cost is going to conservatives. That is an oversight that they will soon enough regret. So my suggestion would be follow all of the heterodox voices that you believe are honorable, and do so across as many channels as you can, so that as we get booted off of one channel, there's some place that we can regroup. And in later podcasts, we can talk about some other technologies and approaches that we might use in order to protect ourselves from an onslaught that we may only be able to stave off very briefly.
Coming soon, I hope, right?
Yes.
The particular conversation that you are alluding to.
Yes.
Awesome.